The January 2025 CPI report delivered a blow to hopes of easing inflation. The report revealed a 0.5% increase in inflation month over month. This jump exceeded economists' predictions of a 0.3% rise. Year over year, inflation hit 3%, marking the fastest annual rate since June 2024. This surge suggests that inflation is proving stickier than anticipated. Consumers are feeling the pinch. The Bureau of Labor Statistics released the CPI data. These figures track the prices of a basket of goods and services. This basket represents typical consumer spending. The CPI is a key measure of inflation. It influences Federal Reserve decisions on interest rates. The higher-than-expected inflation figures raise concerns. They indicate that the Federal Reserve's efforts to control inflation may not be working as intended. Some economists suggest that the Fed's previous interest rate hikes may not be enough. They argue that more aggressive measures may be needed to curb inflation. Core CPI, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, also showed a significant increase. It rose 0.4% month over month. This is the highest increase since April 2023. Year over year, core CPI reached 3.3%. This persistent rise in core inflation is a worrying sign. It suggests that inflation is becoming more broad-based. Core CPI is closely watched by economists and policymakers. It provides a clearer picture of underlying inflationary pressures. The recent increase in core CPI suggests that inflation is not just driven by temporary factors. It indicates that price increases are becoming more embedded in the economy. This sustained rise in core inflation limits the Federal Reserve's flexibility. The Fed aims to achieve price stability. However, the persistent core inflation makes it difficult for the Fed to justify easing monetary policy. The latest CPI report puts the Federal Reserve in a difficult position. The central bank is tasked with keeping inflation in check. However, it must also consider the impact of its actions on economic growth. The Fed has already raised interest rates significantly over the past year. These rate hikes are designed to cool the economy and bring down inflation. The Federal Reserve is likely to proceed cautiously in light of the January CPI report. Economists predict that the Fed will maintain its current interest rate. However, the central bank will closely monitor upcoming economic data. This data includes future CPI reports, employment figures, and consumer spending patterns. The January CPI report sent shockwaves through financial markets. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq Composite all fell sharply after the report's release. Investors are concerned about the prospect of persistent inflation. Higher inflation erodes the value of future earnings. This uncertainty makes investors wary. Consumers are feeling the pain of inflation at the grocery store and the gas pump. Prices for essential goods and services continue to rise. For example, egg prices surged 15.2% in January, the largest monthly increase since June 2015. Fuel oil prices also jumped 6.2%. These price increases are putting a strain on household budgets. Many consumers are struggling to keep up with the rising cost of living. The January CPI report is a stark reminder that inflation remains a significant challenge. The Federal Reserve faces a delicate balancing act. It must curb inflation without derailing economic growth. The outcome of this challenge will have major implications for consumers and investors alike. Thanks for watching. Don't forget like, subscribe, and comment. And remember, your dear friend Dirgo say, stay informed.